What's going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, as well as Litecoin. And I've read your comments, and like you guys have been saying, sometimes the content can get somewhat repetitive due to the fact that sometimes the markets are kind of constant and we don't really see much change, and it's hard to make daily content on something that doesn't really move as much. But I wanted to spend today's episode to kind of separate away from that and talk about something a little bit different. So more specifically, I want to talk about this Ripple coin, or XRP, securing a $200 million investment at a $10 billion evaluation, which is pretty crazy. And with that, I want to discuss how that's merely not had an effect on the price of XRP. XRP has been failing to surge after reaching its 2-year low, which is quite interesting. And then I also want to touch upon the fact that the separation of Ripple and XRP and why it happened and what does it mean and what are the differences, because we don't really see, and I feel like some people are a little confused when they see the XRP news coming out or the Ripple news coming out. They think it has a direct impact on the XRP token, and I think they're sadly mistaken. And I want to kind of separate that difference so we all have the same understanding of where these coins are moving to. I also want to discuss the fact that, we're still so freaking close on the charts in regards to when this breakout is going to be coming, and I am getting super excited and super thrilled, and I'm getting really anxious as we near closer and closer to the point of breakout. Otherwise though, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and let's jump into today's episode. So guys, where did we leave off yesterday's video? Yesterday we were discussing a very interesting pattern. As you guys can clearly see though, you'll notice that history does seem to be repeating itself. Like I've mentioned, you can see the massive uptrend uptick that we had in 2017, 2018. Notice how right in 2019 we had a similar one, and you can see we did have this bearish breakdown right here, and we're starting to see, or what we could be expecting to see, is the same bearish correction to the downside, basically to the bottom of this uptrend. And then we could see the in 2020 come after May, a potential bullish break to the upside, similar to where we've been moving if history does continue to repeat itself. So very interesting movements like that. I do although want to show you guys the current coin market cap. The fact that we're really not seeing much movement right now, and coins have pretty much been flatlined. Tether taking a massive drop though, very interesting, but the other cryptocurrencies are flatlined right now. Volume is gone. We saw our dip, we went right back up, and we've been consolidating and trading sideways for the past couple of days right now, and I find that quite interesting. You can see it on DueDEX too, literally no movement at all, and that usually is an indication of big volume coming to the market. So I find that also to be quite interesting, and I want to spend quite a bit of time on. More specifically, I want to talk about these articles that I have pulled up. So Crypto Slate, as you guys know, I believe today is the 21st. So yesterday we got hit with Ripple getting a $200 million investment at 10 billion valuation. As you guys know, Ripple is a company that's separate from the XRP token that's listed on the exchange right here. This is totally separate, guys, from the actual Ripple company itself, and I'll discuss what that means in a second. But a San Francisco-based tech company revealed that it scored a $200 million investment in Series C funding led by global investment firm Tetragon. And then it says, the CEO of Ripple, this proves the institutional investors understand the value and utility that XRP and the XRP ledger have in improving cross-border payments. So now they're referring to the coin itself. It then says the investment will be used to expand Ripple's team worldwide in order to meet market demands. Per the blog post, the firm wants to be able to serve its community for customers and partners, which is growing at an exponential rate. So basically, at the Garling House prepares what could be a tremendous year for XRP or Ripple. The price of XRP could be signaling a bullish impulse, but as we know, we've been in a constant bear market for literally 3 years now. So we'll see how exactly that goes in regards to spiking in terms of the price. So it says the new investment that Ripple received will undoubtedly help expand its global presence and set high expectations for the upcoming year. Hopefully this will also serve as a driver for XRP, which is one of the few cryptocurrencies that has had a negative year-to-date return. Time will tell whether XRP will finally exceed investors' expectations and start reaching higher highs. So very interesting. Take that into consideration though, that Bitcoin from last year to this year has actually seen a positive return on investment, and you can see that XRP has had a negative return on its investment for the past, I believe, 3 years since we started. Obviously, if you bought it in back in 20 cents, it's a big difference, but anytime now, the past 3 years from 2017, 2018, 2019, we've been heading down lower and lower and lower each year, setting new lows. So unfortunately, it's not been the best investment in the coin, but it ultimately does seem to signal some sort of breakout. But off of that discussion, you'll notice they separated XRP and Ripple. What does that mean? So basically, the separation of Ripple and XRP is different. That's why we've seen the token, the actual, you can see the token itself has changed in the past to show something different. You can see, though, that Ripple is a San Francisco startup company and the majority holder of the cryptocurrency XRP. The company develops software that banks use to facilitate fast global financial transaction powered by the cryptocurrency XRP. Its platform is one of the most successive, having been used by large financial institutions to enable cross-border payments. So you can see that's pretty much the difference, that Ripple has, a company. It is the company that does a lot of and it makes a lot of, tech for institutional banks and institutional companies, while XRP is an independent digital currency that is used to facilitate the transactions on the Ripple network. The tech behind the crypto is called the XRP ledger and acts as the blockchain in which the XRP tokens reside. The ledger is community-based, which means only users can decide whether it succeeds or fails. So you can see that's the separation, and that's the difference between the company itself and the token itself, is that they've come together, or they come separate now from being together and do totally different things. Obviously, Ripple uses XRP, but XRP is the token and Ripple is the company. So there is differences in that. So just because something correlates doesn't mean it is the reason for the breakout. So when we see big news and big investments, like you can see right here with this $200 million investment coming into Ripple, it doesn't mean that the XRP price is going to be affected and shoot up because of the fact that they separated right now. So you can see XRP fails to surge after reaching 2-year lows. XRP has been having a hard time lately, failing to enjoy strong upward momentum after hitting the lowest price in 2017. The digital token declined to as little as 17 cents on Wednesday, and it's back to around 19 cents right now. But basically, I like Forbes. I hate the amount of ads they throw in here, but it says the bearish crypto markets, the difficulty comes at a time when the digital token and the broader crypto markets, as we know, have been experiencing a downtrend. We've been experiencing just constant corrections to the downside. The digital crypto markets, for example, have lost nearly half their value since late June, and that's another reason why we've been seeing, retracements and corrections to lower levels. They do talk about the $200 million funding round, which Ripple announced today, but it's pretty much failed to generate significant gains, as we know. Makes sense. And there's been a lot of market skepticism. The challenges XRP has had in recovering in recent losses illustrates the skepticism on the markets and the sentiment surrounding XRP. So basically, the general sentiment doesn't think XRP is priced correctly. It's being reflected in the market. It makes sense, though. However, many digital currencies have been having similar experiences, and we're finding out how valuable public actually thinks these assets are. So obviously, people want the coins much higher. It makes sense. We don't need to discuss that. But you guys can see XRP is merely 19 cents right now and is correcting lower, and we don't plan on seeing much movement right now, but I do think in the future, moving into 2020, we should be expecting to see some sort of movement. So to jump into the technical analysis aspect of today's video, we have to consider a couple of things. Obviously, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we do see very similar movements. Now, in regards to, the long-term overview of the market, you guys can clearly see the massive descending triangle, and for the first time in a very long time, XRP is retesting lows that we haven't seen since 2017, if not, all of 2017. The 16 cent to 20 cent region is where the current price is right now, and we've pretty much been correcting all the way back down to there. So very interesting that we've seen prices like this. We haven't seen similar moves compared to Bitcoin, but the fact is that this descending triangle could potentially open us up to the big break. Obviously, a descending triangle is considered bearish on Investopedia, but I've seen differences on, cryptocurrency because stocks are a lot different than cryptocurrency is. But if you look at the market, sometimes we could be anticipating a big new market cycle that could start and could, end us shooting us up to pretty high levels. We could easily see another dollar correction and a dollar retestment in the near future, because as we know, if we compare this or link it with Bitcoin, we could be seeing movements up to higher levels. So that's pretty much what I wanted to focus on, is in the fact that I do think a 16-cent crypto is going to be reflected. Notice XRP has pretty much just been deflating ever since the coin hit its all-time high at 30 cents, and we really haven't been seeing much movement at all in any positive direction since. And since then, we've pretty much just been consolidating out and then breaking to lower levels over and over and over. So if you've been shorting this coin, you've been making a fortune. But we have to consider a couple of things. Bitcoin has also been consolidating and correcting lower. The only key difference is that Bitcoin has had a different set of patterns compared to XRP does. But if we consider that XRP and Bitcoin are very similar in how they trend, we can take into consideration that if XRP follows Bitcoin's pattern and Bitcoin's chart, we could be expecting to see a drop leading XRP to 16 cents, then followed by that breakout to the upside. Merely, if you want to expect to see XRP prices head any higher than 16 cents, you have to consider a couple of things. This white retracement or this white downtrend must be broken to expect any sort of correction to the upside. We have to break the high-low MMA. We have to break the downtrend. Otherwise, do not expect in any sort of way movement to the upside. We will not go higher. We will not head up if we don't break the downtrend. If indeed we do, we could be seeing some massive volume. Obviously, we'll be seeing a lot of FOMO investors. Seeing prices that we haven't seen in months will signify some sort of correction to the upside. But the way the price is looking, the fact that we just broke an extremely strong support right here is in the fact that we're headed lower. So ignore all the people that are referring to the price going to $1,000, the price going to 500, the price going to 100, the price going to 50, the price going to 10. It's not happening anytime soon. And I don't want to be a buzzkill, but it's just the truth. We're not going to see movements like that. It's not going to happen until a long time from now, and the market will have to be doing very well. In the market like this, with the coin being literally 19 cents, it's not going to shoot up to those levels. And I don't want to sound like a buzzkill or somebody who's extremely bearish on the coin, but logically, it just doesn't make sense. Those people making those predictions, if they want to be accurate, it won't happen for another 3 years. To be honest, what we're looking for right now is consolidation that is going to take quite a bit. If we do see any sort of movement with the price potentially going up, it's going to be not for another 3 months. We're going to expect to see another 12 weeks of consolidation in between the 19 cents and 16 cent barrier, and then ultimately retesting the downtrend, which could lead to a break to the upside. As for Bitcoin, the coin that's been literally blowing my mind, the fact that we saw this little pump fake yesterday is quite interesting. Call it what you want. Personally, I think it is a pump fake. Notice this just blows my mind in the fact that we found this chart, we've been using it, and we've been following it to a T. What's crazy right now is the fact that we literally are coming to the end point. You can see right here, this is pretty much the end of where we consolidate sideways, and then we experience some sort of correction to the downside, about 30% drop. It's in the fact that we saw the pump fake, and then went right back up inside of the descending triangle or symmetrical triangle, whatever you want to call it. The fact that we're now trending above support and resistance, the fact that we popped right back into there blows my mind, out of the water, and hopefully it blows your mind too, because of the fact that we're trending right inside of here and we didn't see any movement. We corrected all the way down, we went right back up into here. We did not break above resistance, which is, it's incredible. So ultimately, we're going to have some sideways trading. We're going to see maybe 2 or 3 days left in movement before we see any sort of correction that we're really anticipating. I'd say, no, I wouldn't even say 5 days. I'd say honestly like 2 or 3 days left in consolidation before we see which direction we decide to go to. Obviously, there still is a chance for movement to the upside. There's also a greater chance for a correction to the downside, but we're going to have to pay really close attention It's in the fact that I really do gamble, or I am gambling in the fact that we will be correcting to the downside. I still am using DueDEX to short this crypto. Obviously, check it out. Check out my Patreon in the description if you want some more inside details on when I do make my trades and how often I do them. You know, when I'm buying in, when I'm selling off. You can see we're only down about 30%, which I know is quite a bit, but it's only $37 right now, and that's a small amount. And I'm just going to keep holding on to here because I do believe ultimately that we're going to see this massive break, and a 30% drop on here when leveraged by 10 times is going to equal quite a bit of profit. So we're down for right now. That's okay, but I do believe we're going to see that correction to the downside. There's been no volume. There's been nothing into the market that's been sparking movements higher. So realistically, it doesn't make sense that we break to the upside. Could happen. It very well could happen, but we have not, been devalued. We're still trading fairly well on the weekly, and we're looking for reasons to break lower. Honestly, we're trading at 40 on the RSI. We still have plenty of room to head lower. So it doesn't make sense for us to head up. Honestly, we haven't retested oversold yet. We're not oversold yet, and we're ultimately looking for that correction to the downside. But you can see how exactly this plays out on the weekly. I like this. It looks a lot better than on the daily. You can see we do have this extended long-term support right here that is pretty much at about $48, and it is setting higher lows than the past. You can see we were originally at 1,000, then we hit 3,000. Now we're going to probably retest 5,000 and then head up from there. You can see once we usually retest, we correct to the upside. So ultimately, that's the anticipation. We're retesting high-low middle moving averages right now, and there's a very high chance of this correction to the downside that is going to take place literally any second now. Then we're going to see this massive volume that we haven't seen in quite some time. But this is what I'm anticipating, about a 28-day bear market, which is going to be huge. We're going to see this any second now, and honestly, you're going to have to be in it to win it. So take advantage of the market the way we're trading right now. Sign up for DueDEX. I don't understand why people haven't yet. It doesn't make sense. It's a free website that you can trade on. If you're watching these videos, it means you have an interest in the market and you have an interest in trading cryptocurrency. So sign up for a free website. You get rewarded if you deposit Bitcoin. You can put $5 in and trade around, and you can leverage your $5. The fact that you can short this cryptocurrency and the fact that we are about to be breaking lower is music to my ears that it makes sense to invest into DueDEX. But that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video, guys. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. Like I said again, I can't stress enough that I am extremely, extremely, extremely confident in the fact that we're probably going to see this correction to the downside. If we somehow manage to break bullish, I will be extremely shocked. I'm sure the whole market will, but as for right now, I am anticipating a correction lower. Otherwise, I'll save enough of your guys' time, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.